Hello and welcome everyone to Ruslan Bortnik YouTube channel. My name is James, and as usual, we're going to discuss the most relevant updates about Ukraine and what's happening around Ukraine. Ruslan, thank you for joining me today. And traditionally, I want to start with the situation on the front line. How?
Hello, James. Hello, James, and thank you for this ability to talk about the very serious problems for Ukraine and in all region of Eastern Europe or Western Eurasia.
Yeah, sir. I've jumped right away into the topics. I've just got too excited. Just like I've mentioned, as usual, let's start with the situation on the front line. How balanced or not balanced yet the situation on the northern part of Ukraine and on the eastern side of battlefields?
I hope you see the general map of Ukraine. This is all the borders of Ukraine, and the red colored part of Ukraine is the part which is occupied by Russian forces. And the green painted part, it's a parts which were occupied by Russian forces in the beginning of the war. Here is a Kyiv, but now these green parts are elaborated. The general situation in the front line is still dangerous for Ukraine. Unfortunately, a new wave of mobilization and the new military package from United States hasn't changed this situation dramatically, and Russia still has a military initiative in the battlefield and continues her offensive operations in few directions. Nowadays, in more offensive, more dangerous direction is the Pokrovsk direction, where Russia is continuing her offensive operation from Avdiivka region, and every day in this direction we see the moves of Russian troops for a few kilometers.
Just to clarify, Ruslan, sorry, we have two colors. One is a little bit darker red, and one is the lighter red. The darker, I'm assuming it's something that was occupied earlier, and the lighter red, right? And it's post the 2022 new counteroffensive, right? If just we can clarify it for our viewers.
Thank you. Yes. The dark, more dark color. This is lands which were occupied by Russian Federation before full invasion. Full scale invasion to Ukraine. It's Crimea. This is Crimea. This is Donetsk and Lugansk region, which were occupied much before. And light colored it's a part which are occupied after the full scale invasion. In general, if we are talking in general situation, now Russia occupied more than 110,000 square kilometers of Ukraine, or more than 18% of general territory of Ukraine. Russia is continuing her offensive operation in few directions, trying to achieve the rest of Donetsk Oblast. Here is this part, and Russia is trying to achieve the part of Kharkivsk Oblast, Kupiansk direction, and north of Kharkiv direction. Also today, Russia started a new dot for defensive operation in the north of Kharkiv Oblast. Here is Sotnitsky Kazachok. It's a new direction of Russian offensive operation to the north of Kharkiv. Kharkiv is very important for Ukraine, for political situation, because Kharkiv was the first capital of Ukraine in the 1930s. 100 years ago. It's very important city from the military humanitarian side, city of universities in Ukraine, where was a lot of young people in Ukraine. And also Kharkiv, in Kharkiv Oblast, it's near 6% of all Ukrainian GDP. It's very important region for Ukrainian economy. So Russia still has military initiative. Ukrainian troops are trying to go small local counter-offensive operation, but situation is still very dangerous for Ukraine. We are not able to stop all this climbing offensive operation from the Russian side.
Does Ukraine need anything else to balance it and stop it, or it's still in process to start using and getting all the aid that was sent from Ukraine's allies?
Ukraine needs more soldiers, and we are not sure that we will be able to gather this soldier from inside of Ukraine. We need more, maybe more foreign volunteers to serve in the Ukrainian army, and we need more weapon and more financial support. It's not nowadays packages are not enough to stop this Russian offensive operation, taking into account that Russia has a huge economy, huge military industrial complex, and Russia has a good economical support from the global South countries.
I think that's an interesting point. I want to flash back to the proposition that Trump have made about a potential peace plan when he mentioned that either Russia and Ukraine will take that plan, or if Russia will deny Trump's peace plan, then Trump is going to send more weapons or all the weapons that Ukraine is in need to escalate or to win this war. That being said, if the situation is not anymore just about weapons, but now we have a human resource issue, and just in general, it's not going to fix or make a big advantage. What is the point of that potential threat that we're going to send more weapons to Ukraine if it's not going to make a big change?
Officially, there is no Trump's peaceful plan officially. There is only a publication, there are only publications in Western mass media in the names of his advisors. But Trump's plan, like Orban's plan, like a Chinese plan, like many other plans, they are starting from the freezing of the conflict. They are starting from the ceasefire. And Ukraine now is not ready for ceasefire, because Ukraine says that ceasefire, it means not only the habitation of all Ukrainian occupied territories by Russian people, by Russian forces, but also it means lowering the level of financial and military support from Ukraine, from the Western allies. Ukraine is afraid that any ceasefire leads to Ukraine to the status of gray zone and leads to political instability and leads to Ukraine to losing of Western support.
So what does Ukraine want instead? What's going to be a more productive approach?
Ukraine wants to final resolution of the conflict, and not only a ceasefire, not only the forcing the conflict. And this final resolution for Ukraine should consist of a few very extremely important parts. Especially, we are talking about the security guarantees, and not only for the country, but also for the political elites, which could approve such a peaceful resolution. Security guarantees for elites, it means that Western allies and every geopolitical players could support them on the next election, and that geopolitical players will not support any political opposition in Ukraine for some time, for the time of stabilization and for the time of fulfillment of this peace agreement, possible peace agreement. Security guarantees, it means maybe bilateral agreements between the country or a member of Ukraine in NATO or something like this. Also for Ukraine, it's very important the economical restoration, rebuilding, and money. We need a big money for the economical rebuilding. And also we need a permanent tool for which will make Ukraine non-acceptable for possible future Russian or another aggression. We need not only security guarantees, we need geopolitical circumstances around us. We need a special international maybe agreement which put Ukraine out from this geopolitical competition. So, of course, it's very hard to make such agreements nowadays because United States has no stable president now because they have election last year, or presidential term for Biden, and other countries and Europe Union still are waiting the end of United States internal presidential competition.
You mentioned Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. He have visited Ukraine, Kiev on July 2nd with a potential peace plan proposition that was denied. I couldn't find any information about that peace plan. In your opinion, was that similar to Chinese proposition or any other propositions that Ukraine have received before? And what could have been included in that offer that would make Ukraine more acceptable towards those kind of propositions?
Nobody knows exactly about it. In public, it was announced that Mr. Orban proposed to Ukraine only ceasefire, like a preliminary reason for the political negotiation. Orban is trying to play now his own negotiation role because Hungary now is in the charge of Europe Union. Moreover, Mr. Orban has a good connections at the same time with Trump, with Xi Jinping, with Putin also. So he is able to communicate with everybody, and he is able to present the Europe Union position for the next 6 months till the end of this year during the Hungarian leadership in the Europe Union. So he is trying to play this role, but officially Ukraine declined proposition of ceasefire from Orban. At the same time, of course, there is also Ukrainian-Hungarian track. We are talking about the rights of Hungarian minority in Ukraine and so on. There are more successful steps in this Ukrainian-Hungarian way, and it looks like that Ukraine and Hungary are able to find the resolution for Ukrainian-Hungarian humanitarian dialogue and conflicts in the sphere of education of national minorities and so on.
So we can say that the relationship between Ukraine and Hungary are potentially being more productive, and they're looking to find productive ways of communicating and fixing their issues between the countries.
More friendly and more productive. Maybe that will be successful in our relations. But in general, pressure on Ukraine on the ceasefire. It was a year also French President Macron, I want to remind you, and it's the idea of Chinese and Brazilian peaceful plan. This pressure on Ukraine is growing up. A lot of voices, public voices in mass media, experts' voices in public, and a lot of leaders' voices behind the curtains. Now we have. It looks like our Western allies over-evaluated and estimated, making a new evaluation for Ukrainian situation. Everybody is scary about the future possible Trump's leadership in the United States, and everybody is trying to find the way to end or this conflict, this war, or to find the tools for managing this war in the future.
Or to freeze it with a potential ceasefire that all of them are offering at the moment.
It's a way to end this conflict for maybe for a few years, but it means to end this conflict for the next political cycle.
The last thing that I wanted to discuss, there is a potential escalation between Belarusian and Ukrainian relationships. What is happening? What is the potential solution? And how should Ukraine behave in that situation?
Unfortunately, my map doesn't works correctly. Here is a part of Ukrainian-Belarusian border, near 800 kilometers.
Yeah, we can see the border. Yeah.
Yeah. Starting from this point, ending to this point, only for the straight, only by the straight line, it's more than
550 kilometers.
Yes, and there is visible part and hidden part. If we are talking about visible part, that Belarusian side said that Ukraine is gathering different forces on this territories, and these forces are gathered from the Russian pro-Ukrainian Russian military groups, RDK, so-called RDK, Rational Volunteer Corps, which is fighting on Ukrainian side now, and from pro-Ukrainian anti-Belarusian Kalinovsky. This is unity troops made from Belarusian citizens who are against Lukashenko. And Lukashenko said that Ukraine is gathering, concentrating these forces on the borders to make a provocation on Ukrainian-Belarusian border. But it looks like Ukraine is not very interested to make any provocation in this border, because it means if this border will be a front line, like it was in the beginning of the war, because from Belarusian side, Russia made an attempt to achieve the Kyiv. This is green line. It was occupied by Russian forces who intervened from the Belarusian side. And if this line will be battlefield again, it means that Ukraine will need more resources, more military resources to defend these areas. And Kyiv is very close to, near 200 kilometers from Belarusian borders. And it's not Ukrainian interest to make this part by Ukrainian by make this part like a front line. So it looks like a Russian-Belarusian operation of intensification of conflict, maybe, or maybe of taking our view, taking our attentiveness to the situation, and to spread Ukrainian forces on the whole continuation of this border. We need our reserves now in the south and east of Ukraine. And if this border will be warm again, it means that we need to spread these reserves also for this part. And Russia uses Belarus, trying to stretch Ukrainian reserves also for the north part of Ukraine. And moreover, maybe it's an operation of blackmailing for the West, because we understand if the Belarus will be alarmed, if Belarus will flame, it also will be a significant risk for Poland, neighboring with Belarus, and Baltic countries who are also neighboring with Belarus. It also will problem. But if we are saying that this is operation for blackmailing Ukraine and allies, we need to recognize that if we will not do something to prevent, to manage this blackmailing, it can lead the general situation to the military conflict again on these borders, because Russian operation for blackmailing with the Russian military exercise in the territories of Belarus, which were made before the war in 2018, 2019, 2022, then lead the situation in 2022 when these forces which were gathered into the territory of Belarus for military exercise were used to the offensive operation to Kyiv. So, of course, it's blackmailing, but there is a significant risk that this blackmailing will be used for the real military operation, escalation, and provocation on Ukrainian-Belarusian border.
What steps should Ukraine take to avoid that escalation? How should they approach it?
Well, I think we need a diplomacy with Belarus, and also our Western allies, especially European allies, should start a negotiation with Belarus and Lukashenko to avoid this possible escalation. Lukashenko is still partly independent in this situation. Lukashenko is looking for any possibilities to make his power more sovereign from the Russian side also. He is looking partners in Turkey, in China, and other places. Today, Belarus became a part of so-called TROS organization. Belarus is still willing to be as much as possible independent from the Russia. And the diplomacy track, negotiation track with Belarus could be accepted Belarus very well.
Right. Ruslan, thank you for today. Thank you for your comments, and I hope you have a good day.
Thank you, James, and hope to all the good days for all our country. Thank you for the help to better understanding the situation in Ukraine and around Ukraine. Bye-bye, and see you at home next time.